Welcome back to the channel, and as promised in a few other videos that I'm making for around this time, I'm at the beach, but I don't want you guys to be without really mediocre Star Wars price updates. So that's what my channel is, and that's what I'm making for you guys while I am away. And today we're going to focus on the 30th anniversary collection, kind of a weird line, but a cool line. That I've got a few of them. I didn't include some of the ones that I have in my own collection, but it has been pretty interesting to see how little has sold over the last couple of months, actually, for the 30th anniversary collection. It's a pretty limited line in terms of sales activity on eBay, but I do have a few that have sold recently that were worth pointing out. Lots of vehicles, lots of multi-packs, so it's not a huge assortment here to go through, but I did want to kind of show you what's going on with the line. And we're going to start off with two of the more popular ones, meaning Darth Revan and Darth Malik. And obviously with the release of Darth Revan in the Vintage Collection line, this is something that we talked about in my last 30th anniversary collection market update, is that the TAC version of Darth Revan has really dropped in price. This used to be double, if not triple, what it goes for now. This one sold for $50 plus $8 shipping. And then we've got both of them together. Now, admittedly, this price is a lot less than probably what fair market value is, because the blisters on these two particular examples of Revan and Malik have yellowed slightly. And that's kind of a weird thing for a modern line, but with the 30th anniversary collection, those blisters can yellow sometimes. So give it a look when you're buying, if you're buying one, and clearly the market knew that these had yellowed slightly. You can see it in these photos here. It's not terrible, but they definitely have yellowed since they were released, versus this one where it's still clear. These two have a slight yellow tint to them. And so those sold for $62.50. Here are two more that I think are clear blisters, just shadows in this case. I could be wrong there, but they look like they are clear to me. And those two sold for $79. And then we've got two more here that you could maybe make an argument have started to yellow. I don't know. It's hard to say. But these two look yellow to me. These two maybe have a grayish hint to them also. And then these maybe less so. I don't know. $110 for those. These look okay to me. So it's all over the map in terms of price. And, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these aren't yellow, but they look it to me. So it's anywhere from $62 to $80 to $110 for the pair for two of the most popular from the 30th anniversary collection, Darth Malik and Darth Revan. Just depending on the condition. Here was a cool one. This is the Galactic Marine, which I do have. I love the Galactic Marine. I picked that one up at Target one time, back when these were still in stores. I think it was Target. It might have been somewhere else. But this one looks like it's signed by Temuera Morrison, I think. I think that's who the signature is. It doesn't actually say in the item description. It just says, signed from my personal collection. No one cares. Tell us who it is that signed it, but I think that's who it is. It looks like his signature to me, based on other items I've seen him sign. So that's pretty cool to have that one signed. That one sold for $70 plus $8 shipping, and I don't think they have the Galactic Marine for the Vintage Collection. That's one they should probably release, in my opinion. Even if they just use the same sculpt, I don't care. Just put it out. Surely they've got enough out there now to re-release this figure on the Vintage Collection card back, but maybe they'll never do that. I don't know. Some vehicles that sold. This is one that I see very regularly on Facebook wanting to buy. And this is a question I've got for you guys that I saw in the Facebook groups, is will the Clone Wars version of ObiWans Starfighter, I think it's Obi, it might have been Anakin's Starfighter. Will Anakin's Clone Wars Starfighter, the Clone Wars line of items, will that fit this hyperspace ring? My gut says it probably does, right? It probably is just a little slot that goes in. It's the same triangular shape of the Starfighter. It looks to be exactly the same as the Clone Wars Starfighter used for Anakin as well as for Ahsoka. It's just a different color, obviously. But that's a question for you guys. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I would be very curious as to whether that fits or not. My gut says it probably does. And if I had been smart, I would have read the replies, because I'm sure somebody replied to that post asking about that. It was just the other day when I saw it, and I forgot to look at the replies, but I'm assuming it'll fit. That's a pretty cool item, though. That's a pretty cool item. And, it's pretty popular. It's pretty expensive for what it is. So $170. And I found several data points along the lines of this sales price of $170 for ObiWans Starfighter with the hyperspace ring. And then one of my favorites is the Sith Infiltrator. I used that all the time in the Battlefront video games, more on the Battlefront II action figures in a little while. But the Sith Infiltrator was deadly. Once you upgraded it in the Battlefront II video game, you were basically indestructible. You were invisible and you could do a lot of damage. And it was pretty rare when I lost one of those multiplayer rounds where I was acting as the Sith Infiltrator. So that one sold for $58.50. This seller had two. One of them did sell. The V-Wing Starfighter, that's another pretty deadly one. It was quick and nimble in the video game. And once you upgraded the cannons on that thing, it was pretty awesome. It was not very durable. It had pretty weak shields, but I always found it to be pretty useful for objective-based multiplayer games. So the V-Wing Starfighter sold for $129. This seller had two available. One of them did sell. We've got the ARC 170 fighter, and obviously they have this in the vintage collection line, and it usually sells for about the same price, if not slightly higher in the vintage collection packaging, which you'd expect just given the heavy number of TVC collectors versus 30th anniversary collectors. But it usually goes for maybe $10 or $20 more than what this one sold for, which is $150 plus $15 shipping. General Grievous's Starfighter, that was always one that looked a little cyberpunk to me. It just had that kind of Rolls-Royce look to it. And, it had some pretty cool scenes in the prequel trilogy. I think it's Attack of the Clones. But when I look at it, it really does feel like it's almost like a Captain America era red mask Rolls-Royce. I mean, that's kind of what it looks like to me. It's always looked that way to me. And maybe that's just me being weird, but it feels like the style of the vehicle doesn't match a lot of the rest of the vehicles from the Clone Wars era, but it does have kind of an antique feel to it. It's almost like General Grievous took an even older starship and then retro upgraded it to fit his needs, and that's how it always felt to me when I saw it, just aesthetically. But it's a pretty cool looking vehicle. That one sold for $84. And then we had the TIE Bomber, which was a Target exclusive. This is a very sought after vehicle and a really cool one from the Empire Strikes Back asteroid field scene. Great looking box on this one, box art. That one sold for $125. That one includes the TIE Bomber pilot, obviously. Another awesome multi-pack is the Battle of Endor. This is just a great display piece. Just leave it as is. You've got Han. You've got an Ewok on a speeder bike. You got another biker scout on a speeder bike. And then you've got an AT-ST with, General Veers in there. So it's just an awesome looking display piece with a cool 3D diorama display. That one sold for $150. That's actually towards the lower end of the range. I found a couple of these that sold for, $150, $155, $160, somewhere in that ballpark. But that's a really cool one to pick up for sure. Next up, this is another one that's obviously very pricey, just given the Katana sail barge and people wanting to fill it out and being willing to degrade themselves with the upgraded or George Lucas changed version of Return of the Jedi with the Max Rebo Band entertainers. So this set is really more in keeping for what you want for the Katana, right? Because the figure sculpts are much more detailed for the Max Rebo band versus the vintage Kenner. So I get why people want it. And also the Max Rebo is not degraded blue, right? It's a nice solid blue color. So these are very, very pricey as people fill out their Katana sail barge. $190 for that set of 2. And that's a pretty cool set. Some other multi-packs. Speaking of Battlefront 2, I hate to keep harping on it, but I loved that video game. My God, I played it so much. So this is the droid pack from Star Wars Battlefront 2 PX Previews exclusive. This one sold for $120, free shipping. But that's pretty much got all of the major players. You got the Droideka, some of the battle droids. It looks like, I don't know which one that is. Which one is this one right in the middle there? I don't know. Let's see if we can look at the back of the box. That one is, it's Magna Guard droid. Yeah, the Magna Guard, of course. And then the Super Battle droid, of course, which is awesome. And then the Destroyer droid, Ammunition droid, which he's always walking around the stages, the multiplayer stages, just walking around innocently. And so that's a pretty cool way to kind of harken back to the old school Battlefront 2 days. We've got the Evolutions Vader's Secret Apprentice pack that kind of shows Galen Merrick going through the various stages. You got Secret Apprentice, Sith Lord, and then Jedi Knight. Very, very cool exclusive pack there that included a cheat code for Star Wars Force Unleashed, which it's probably welcome. That game was impossible. Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 was pretty easy. But the first one, my God, some of those fights against like the walkers, I still have nightmares trying to complete that on hard difficulty. God, that was such a tough game. Anyway, that multi-pack sold for $60. This is another really cool one that has the Betrayal on Felucia. This is a great looking set there, and that set sold for $140. This seller has 2 more still available. And then finally, another really cool multi-pack that I obviously have a soft spot for because it includes the Acklay Battle Beast. This is the Arena Encounter Battle Pack that includes the Acklay Battle Beast as well as the 2 other animals, the Reek and then the Nexu. And I had a first shot prototype for the Acklay that I had custom encased by Collector Archive Services. It was an unpainted first shot prototype that has since gone on to my buddy Mike's collection. And that was an awesome, awesome display piece that CAS put together for me. I doubt they'd even put that together nowadays, just given their hesitancy to tackle the very complicated cases these days. But that was a pretty great scene. And that has all 3 Battle Beasts, Arena Battle Beasts inside there. So that one sold for $148, which feels like a screaming deal to me to get all 3 beasts and that great display item with the kind of the backdrop, diorama backdrop. That feels like a really good deal at $148 plus $22 shipping. So anyway, not a huge assortment here, but I at least wanted to cover some recent sales for the 30th anniversary collection to give you guys some content pre-filmed for your viewing enjoyment. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.